go to your Instagram.
That was the coolest entrance ever.
That was pretty impressive.
I was I was taken back by that. I liked it. Let's do that.
I'm playing around. I'm learning new things with this program.
Well done, sir.
Yes.
I commend you on that one. I really enjoyed that.
I told you I'd give you 30 seconds too.
You're like 30 seconds, and it's a 30-second countdown. I was not kidding. Wow.
I think this is the beginning of my final
Yeah.
cast.
Yeah. So, Jim, did you pop on your go live on Instagram?
I did.
Perfect.
I'm going to turn this down so I can see us pop up and us chatting on this, because that's all I think I'm going to see.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm definitely live. I'm watching myself right now on my my other screen with that nice delay.
I turned that down. All right.
Well, I'm not hearing it. I'm just seeing it.
Be starting the live broadcast from my side of things. I'm doing that through my phone.
Be live on
it should go already. Yeah.
Should automatically go?
It should be going.
Yeah, it should be automatically going.
I got check marks across the top, so everybody's all connected.
Let's see here. I want to watch myself.
Let's fix the pretty self.
Oh, I'm live.
You are live, Pat. Welcome to live.
We're
Over the Pint live with Pat Fogarty.
Yeah, you do the quick intro here, Jim, since you now Pat can watch himself get introduced.
Sure, I'll let Pat watch himself. Hi, everybody. You're watching
sorry, Jim.
Over the Pint. What's up?
Can't hear you.
I know, I'm just totally kidding. I can totally hear everything you're saying. Go ahead, continue. You're all good. Sorry.
What a jerk. I know you can hear me because I can read the I've got closed captioning on, so I can read what I'm saying. So yeah, you're here on Over a Pint with Jim and Eric. We're lucky to have Pat Fogarty here of Fogarty Market Garden as our special guest. In case you don't know him, you are under a rock. No, I'm kidding. Pat is definitely
pumpkin patch.
Yeah, he is definitely in the area. Today we're going to be covering a bit of the whole market garden, the urban market garden, and how just urban farming works in general. And maybe do a couple pokes and stuff for folks like me who can't grow a carrot, and see what we can do, eh, Pat?
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
So start off with a little, how about you introduce yourself, what you do, about the bus, that kind of stuff, Pat?
So my name is Pat Fogarty. I'm the owner of Fogarty's Market Garden, which is a suburban farm located right here in Kingswood, Hammonds Plains, Nova Scotia. We have a pretty interesting little funny farm here, and a pretty hard hitting capacity when it comes to vegetable production and the amounts that we're able to produce. And we are direct to consumer companies. So all of our vegetables that we produce, there's no middlemen. They come right from our farm, 5 minutes down the street to the Wesleyan Cornerstone Church parking lot, where we sell all of our products through our solar powered bus named Shirley's, which is half refrigerated for our food products, and then in the other part of our company is also an edible garden center. So we sell all vegetable transplants, fruit trees, berry bushes, all that kind of stuff. So that's about the gist of it.
Good. How long have you been doing it, Pat?
So we are a Corona business. We opened in 2020. So we started with humble beginnings, just selling from a business that's out of business now, but a storefront that used to be a business called Road Apples, and we just did a plant sale that year, and then the year after that is when Shirley came in 2021. So really, from 2021 to 2024, we've been running with the bus and the full operation.
Nice. So I have to ask, what's your inspiration? What started this?
The whole inspiration was complete despair with not wanting to work for anyone in anyone's company. So at your own place, like a lot of people, I just figured it would be super cool to be able to grow carrots in my yard and uh, not have to drive into work and get stuck in rush hour traffic. Think outside the box. At the time when I discovered this market garden style farming, there was quite a revolution going on around the world with it. So, your ability to, I guess, have a self-sustaining life, and be the boss.
Yeah. So similar to us, we're our own bosses as well.
Well, this is it, right? And it gives you the warm and fuzzies. It kind of hits all the good things that you want to hit when it comes to a company. We're able to feed the community, and actually, the crazy thing about this is when I get into this, it's like anything, right? When you start into a new journey in life, you really don't know anything about it,
Mm-hmm.
and so some of I guess I look back now in hindsight, some things that should have been common sense to assume I was going to encounter weren't so, assuming. So things like, community building, just basically, the community that's been built around this farm is quite astonishing in the amount of following and support that we get from the community. So things like that, I didn't realize the magnitude of. Has been pretty wild, and it continues to grow. In our area, you guys within real estate, we're all aware of how fast this place is growing and the pace it's growing. Yeah. So it's with everything that's going on with the economy, the price of food, power rates, everything else, it's more so now, more important than ever that we keep cranking out and doing what we're doing.
Yeah. I don't know if Jim's talking or if he's muted, or it looks like he's talking, but
is he pretending now, or?
Yeah, I think he's pretending. Oh,
my
there
mic
you go.
Went off. How about that? I wonder if it's just low on battery. Yeah.
Either
It's
way.
an exceptional sweater or shirt, by the way, Jim.
Always got to have some sort of technology happen.
My headset died. Or not, my microphone died.
Just your microphone.
So I got to apparently charge my microphone. Who knew?
Yes.
We have people watching. Scott Fogarty is watching. Aaron Kuhn is watching. Charles, what's up? Charles is creeping me.
I can attest 100% here with the more that Kingswood and all that grows, and the entire Hammonds Plains, how busy Pat's been getting, based on we found it almost impossible to get lettuce this year because every time we showed up, if I didn't show up when he was opening, there was a good chance I wasn't getting lettuce.
Yeah, so that's one of the things. Like every year, this like Jim, we had a really good conversation there a couple days ago, catching up on some stuff, and does that look better? I look kind of white. My wife's turned the light on. Production. What was I talking about here? The growth of things. It's with all the nuances and complexity. I guess the complexity of running an operation and type of company that we run, it can be very hard to adapt on the fly in a timely manner to make change evident quickly. Does that make sense what I just said?
Yeah.
Right? Like it's some of these nuances and complexities of this type of work don't automatically, you can't just go, oh, let's fix it and boom, make the instant change. And so it's taken a few years to try to, going down this journey, or going through this journey to figure out where this company is actually going to land and what it's actually going to look like in its maturity, I guess. If we'll, and I think to some degree, there's an ever evolving situation with this farm too, as we continue to grow and stuff. But that's all right. Yeah, I'm good. Thanks. So yeah, one of the things that we're looking to go back to your question or statement, I guess, one of the big things we're trying to look at this year is like, okay, as we grow in popularity and as more eyes find us and show up at our bus door, how to keep up with that. And we, even before this last previous season, we were getting large volumes of people, and a lot of people that have stuck with us right from 2020 since the get-go. And this year, it's just this last previous season, 2024, was just new people every day. And I think that's what should be expected if you set up in a magic bus with your name on the side of the vehicle on one of the busiest arteries in the city at rush hour traffic in the morning. So yeah, that's one of the things we need to work on this year. That's at the forefront of what we're doing is producing, first of all, more product, even though we're already producing thousands and thousands of pounds of food, but producing more, and then therefore resulting in having to being able to be open a little longer. The idea that we can open our doors and within 3 hours we move the equivalence of a walk-in cooler of vegetables is insane. So a few things that is new this year, like we've got a what's called a paper pot transplanter, and basically it has our cell trays that we normally plant seeds into. It's a paper honeycomb version of that you pull out and you plant your seeds into your substrate, like your potting mix and seeds. And then you put it into this machine and it unravels each cell into the ground as you walk along with the machine. Wow. Each tray is about 264 cells per tray. So in our bottom field, which is our main field production area, we'll go through about 950 heads of lettuce in one bed. Just down in that area is over 30 beds. So gives you an idea of the volume. And as in previous years up to this year, we were planting those by hand.
Wow.
Which is wild. So
yeah.
It's time to get out of the dark ages. I'm putting the horse and wagon, the buggy in the shed or in the barn, and on the modernize to be able to keep up with this. So yeah, I don't know. I'm sure that was quite a tangent. Well, we expected that was going to happen tonight. At least I know
it was definitely going to happen. Yeah.
But if that's
what we're here for. No, that's great to hear though, and I know from the real estate side, Jim, you can attest. It's like a lot of people for me were asking for the more land because they wanted those backyard gardens. They wanted to grow their own food because of cost, right?
Yeah.
And then if they are living outside the city a little bit, going into the city to get groceries, there's more gas, more money. So, I mean, the backyard and what you're doing is amazing. Like I'm a green thumb. I love gardening. I love plants. My house is full of plants, and I hadn't had a gardening space for a while, but I've done a lot of canister type gardening, and like potatoes, carrots, lettuce, everything just in small containers, and it's beautiful. I love it.
The big thing that I see throughout, how we, the response we get to videos and different content that we do, and just boots on the ground talking with thousands of people a year, is people, Jim, we talked about this the other day. People want to be able to have their life and take care of themselves and have the power to take care of themselves in their own hand, I guess is the best way to put it. And people also crave knowledge.
Yeah.
And in our case, we make it really appealing because we give them free knowledge. Go figure. That's actually a thing. So like, for instance, we did our workshop this year, free workshop. Come to our farm. The name, as it implies, workshop, where we would do theory, and then planting, back to theory, then planting on the certain topics that are relevant to that time of year and for home gardening or of course what we're doing with the farm. So where we're going, and what we've also seen is that a lot of people also, this lifestyle of homesteading and self-sufficiency, has a romantic side wrapped around it, that even if people don't physically have an area to grow on, also enjoy just watching and tagging along for the ride on some of these YouTube channels and stuff of people doing that. And at the end of the day, this, I guess, the thing I always say, my wife's my mother-in-law is here for the next couple of weeks to hang out with us, and from Vancouver, and we were talking about this tonight. I totally just forgot my train of thought. What was I talking about? Oh god,
the home gardening, and
this is gonna come back. This is gonna come back in a bit. I'll pick up on that. We'll come back.
Which way do you want to lead them next, then, Jim?
What's that?
I just think, like, do you have any tips for those people? Like you mentioned, you do like some courses and stuff. Like, is that for the backyard gardener mainly, or is that
well, we
larger style gardener?
That. Yeah, we're not gonna get the likelihood of us getting 30 professional farmers to come out to hang out with us in the morning, to come see our funny farm and stuff. Yeah, we really, well, it's I'm not that smart in regard. I have a lot of coincidences and things that line up to be like, and one of these aha moments, it's like, we're a garden center too, right? So, and plus a farm. So if that was one of the things that kind of helped us to be able to build up fast, and is that we have the ability to be appealing to a wide audience, not just that's pretty wide for food. We kind of all eat food, right? I'm back to my point. What I said to the mother. That was a complete tangent. Back to the mother. It was the fact that, how silly and crazy is it, unknowing that we as humans, through convenience in the modern world, brought ourselves to the point where we don't even understand how to grow our own food, or have some people have absolutely no understanding. That's one of the things that's so important about this, right? It's like, with our we have 2 young children, and that's something that's really important to me, not biased because I'm now a farmer, but it's just something like, I grew up in Lunenburg. My father loved to grow champion Atlantic giant pumpkins. So, like, we would always be down at the Dill farm. We were really good friends with Howard Dill, the late Howard Dill, when he was alive. So those were like childhood memories for me. And I think that's something that is just a fundamental thing for early fundamental development for children to have, that, opposed to looking, nothing wrong with tablets and stuff. Well, that could be debatable, but right. And so I always say, a lot of our customers, and which are also, I consider a lot of them to be friends after building relationships over the years, is that I always say, if you've had a sibling, if you haven't been hit in the head with a crab apple by the time you're 10 years old, throwing it at you, there's something seriously wrong with your childhood. So these are I keep saying fundamental, but these are components of, I think, of just in general of life, that we should all, as human beings, have some exposure to, at the very least, and some general understanding, which, I don't want to offend anyone, but if there, maybe we all do. Maybe I'm just going overboard with it. But so yeah, back to your original, I guess, question was like, yeah, we're tailored to we have a full business customer base of clientele that are gardeners, and a lot of people that get into this that are new gardeners that come over. And that's part of the thing, is like, we've always tried to, one of the things that's important to us is being a community-based business. If it wasn't for the community, we wouldn't be able to do what we do. That's number one. We have the opposite issue of a lot of small farms that, that focus a lot of emphasis, and we absolutely paramount focus emphasis on quality of product, but, can grow all this beautiful food and don't have the outlet to sell their products. Whereas with us, it's like, oh, Pat, you told everyone you're a farmer. You better grow more food now because like it's and the pressure that you get from that is immense. You're feeding people, right?
Yeah.
And it's another weird thing too when you're like, how you want to go down a deep dive, dive down a deep hole, and you're like, how many bags of my lettuce are in the community fridges right now around the, you know what I mean? Like food's all over the place, or let alone plants that you grew out of your grow room get all over the. We have people that come from Cape Breton to a garden center annually, right? All across
Oh
the
wow.
province and from the other side too. So it's been pretty friggin' wild. But yeah, that's the main thing. Like tips and stuff like that. Perhaps I never came on here to do a plug for coming to our workshops in the spring.
But they're great.
People really want to get, it's such a.
They're good workshops. They're fun.
Yeah.
Would they find information on your website for that?
There's so much. We're always, and I don't want to come off as sounding that we're disorganized, because there's no way that you couldn't be disorganized with running a farm. You're always, and especially when we're starting from its inception, a farm where, this is a first generation farm, right? A lot of the really hard hitting, awesome farms that I look up to that are in the province here, and there's a lot of them, have been going for a long time or are multi-generational farms. So, and then of course I'm like the jack of all trades with our company. I'm the welder, the electrician, the farmer, the seed purveyor, so
the PR.
It's been
the PR.
it's been a juggling act to try to, and every year, obviously, like any growing company that's going in the right direction, which I believe we definitely are, things are starting to streamline and really come together in our production. Like I say, we grow vegetables now on the tonnage scale throughout the season, right? So now it's all just about, we always like to play with a few things, like, behind the computer here, we have all this year's ginger. We're growing fresh ginger on our farm now, which will be really interesting. So that's something new this year. God, I can't even think. I'm at a loss for words right now. We're just getting started for our for actually planting the farm, right? We get going in February, March, not May, right? So things we're still labeling pot trays and all those kind of things for our garden center and our plants. But so yeah, there's always, for instance, we've got red snake beans this year, which can get up to 2-3 feet long, that you cut up and throw in stir fries and stuff, all that weird stuff. We're going to really, we've got figs growing in our greenhouses. We're really pushing the boundaries. That's actually a good thing to touch on with new stuff for us this year. We've got grafted pawpaw trees, 5 or 6 different varieties coming in from Ontario coming in the spring. Nice. Pawpaws are not commercially available, but if you haven't heard of them, they look like a big mango, and inside is the texture of avocado, but tastes like mango and bananas. So it's a custom.
Oh, wow.
So like tropical, and believe it or not, that is actually native to North America, and in Ontario, and still some areas of Ontario, they actually grow wild. So these are cultivated, propagated varieties that are, were picked for optimal flavor and stuff like that. But mulberries would be another one that we're pushing the limits on. Black mulberries, strawberries, we should have finally full commercial production of that starting this season.
Well, to pull you in there, Pat, just
no, it looks good. That looks all right. Does that look all right, Eric?
It looks fine. You look good. You're still white, but you still look good. You weren't going to
give me the shave for this.
No.
And if we
were going on there,
if we would have did this in the day, you're darn sure that
you would have been brown with dirt,
background or something hanging out, or perhaps we even would have stream this from the chicken coop. That's all right.
Maybe next time we'll do that.
Yeah,
we'll go live on.
Do you want to come up in the video, my lighting director? She does not want to be in our videos.
That's sad.
She gets upset because I exploit our children for views. So who
I
do
wanted
you, I'm just going to look at this stuff right quick and see who's
Yeah,
in.
go ahead. I did want to touch base though. You were mentioning where Eric, you were talking about growing stuff like potatoes and this and that.
Yep.
And Pat, you were talking about starting now, where you were like again starting earlier in the season.
Mhm.
What kind of stuff, like if somebody, not everybody has a yard, but for the people who have yards or the people who start indoors before they go out, or people in apartments, what kind of stuff should they be starting to grow, or what could they grow, or what should they be starting now?
Yeah, like so the first thing that's really important is what I've learned with this, and remember, just to put this back into context, I was not a vegetable farmer. Never worked on a vegetable farm in my life. Like honestly, no formal education in regards to agriculture.
That's only half true. You knew which stuff to
Yeah.
get. You were a chef.
And so,
All
You're a
my
chef.
gardening's been trial and error as well.
Yeah.
and you know what? That's a really cool thing that you say that, Eric, because that is, and sorry, I'll come back to after I forget in 2 minutes, even though I remember your question, Jim, but I'll come back to that. Failure. That is, you have to be humble and you have to be patient to take that. I think there's a lot of people I think that would have given up, with what we've done here, like because not only that was there no experience. We have access nowadays to things like YouTube, and it seems to me like as the years go on and more information continues to refine and get better and modernize, and and then more importantly, the very important part is you're able to have enough of a foundation to tell distinctly between what's nonsense and then what you're actually wanting to be watching. Because you can go on YouTube and you want to learn how to weld, and you can see some of the best welders in the world that have YouTube channels showing you how to do it, and then at least that gives you some basis to start from, because you can watch whatever you want to watch, for instance on welding, and then you pick up the stick and start doing it and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
freeze, but
Yeah.
it's a guide, right? And so back to my main point of this tangent is that failure in learning, and sometimes I always say this, some of the folks watching, it's like I'm a caveman, and you bump into stuff, and that's how you learn and find your direction to get to where you want to go. And there's no, I'm a firm proponent or advocate for failure, provided that you don't get hurt or maimed in the failure. But that's what I've been lucky enough where we set ourselves up with our home and our company in a way that I'm able to, in the beginning years, which are still stressful, but to some that might have been in a compromised financial situations, trying to start a farm and maybe get in over their head and weren't aware of the immense costs that come with starting a farm. Because the internet, there's a bad example. The internet told them they could start a farm for $5,000. Not true. You're missing a few zeros, not 1 0. You're missing three zeros minimum off of that number.
See, now you're making me have to amend my question, Pat. This goes back.
Jim, I'm not done. Don't interrupt me. This is Cody's show now.
This is the good stuff. This is the good stuff, Jim.
This is where it
Come
gets
on.
heated.
No, this ties in with this.
Anyone who's been watching any debates lately, this is more heated conversation than the latest debate on CBC. There we go.
This will definitely tie into this. Is in along with all this that you're talking about, I don't want you to miss out on. There's something that you've told me all along to why you're here helping people, why you tell people like how to do it. Like people fail, they come to you, you give the answers. You don't keep it to yourself. I think that ties into what you want and what would you like to see, like continuing on what you're going on.
There's such an overwhelming need for people. I've been lucky enough to come into contact with some people throughout the farming industry. One in particular is a farmer that I have a lot of respect for, that I look up to, and in my opinion is the at the top of the game, #1 farmer in the province right now, and his crew, because you can't forget the whole team, right, for their farm. But you know, when I first met him, no previous history at all. He asked me for my email and forwarded me their entire farm plan of 20 to 30 years of combined ecological farming experience. Just here you go. Here's our entire farm plan, planting dates, and all relevant stuff. It's the same type of farming. We use the same type of seeders, same seed plates, all the same universal equipment. Here is our wealth of information. So for me, it's like, you know, as being Canadian as Tim Hortons is now, but as being Canadian as possible is to pay, is the, you know, to pay it forward kind of thing, right? And so because there's such, and I think I'd be like that anyways to some degree, but because there's such a need for this stuff, on all aspects, from people growing food and then people being able to purchase food, being able to purchase affordable food, very good value. That's what our motto has always been, is that we have massive bunches that are possibly unmatched to anywhere else that I've seen in size, excellent quality. We're not spraying pesticides all over our stuff, and we try to play a challenging game of being able to hit the price points of large box stores. And when you see our food on the stand, you can see that it's still biologically living. It's not like, and it's very stark when people see it, right, for the first time if they've never seen stuff. And we really get that effect because we're coming 5 minutes away from where it was grown. Right. So it's, you know, but so it's all about, you know, putting away your ego with stuff, helping the community, having the confidence, you know, and we definitely have the track record now of having the confidence to not be worried about that. Well, Jim, I don't know if you're alluding to this, but the pie theory, that there's one pie, and if I take a slice of that pie, then Eric, there's one less slice of that pie for you to have, right? Yeah. So we want to protect what we have, because someone will come in and take our piece of pie, but the pie in this case indefinitely is infinite. Mm-hmm. So it's, you know, it's like share, help the community grow. That motto for us, we've got, this is no rocket science here. We've done some pretty rudimentary, you know, keep it simple, stupid attitude to how we, you know, we just act, you know, treat others how you want to be treated, be honest with people, except for Jim. And then
don't be honest with me. Tell me you're close.
And that's it. You know, like I say, we build a community, and anyone knows I talk a lot, and sometimes to my fault, but we, you know, a lot of our customers that we met over the years, they are friends, and we'll sit there and talk and blab and ask questions. And I seen someone's comment here, Charmaine. What up, Charmaine? Yeah, it's like we all, as much information as that we can give out to help. And then on top of that, going even a step further, people that actually want to do the same thing as what I've done, where it's like, from sheer despair of hating their job, like, what do? I don't have another formal education in another field of work, or in the really relevant case, I can't get a job because no one calls me back and something happened to me, or, you know, and I'm fortunate enough where I have a piece of land. It's like, the only thing with this that upsets me is people's ability to get into this, because we're literally talking on a level of hundreds of thousands of dollars to start, you know, and really that would be my advice to someone that wants to start and get into something like this, is like, we own our equipment, we own our greenhouses, we own our machines, tractors, bus. We don't have payments on that stuff, right? So that allows you to hold on, rather, is a better way to put it, when you're going through, you know, the ups and downs of starting a retail business, and not only a retail business, and I don't have a business degree, and being in a sector that is the most competitive sector of business in the world, arguably, the grocery industry, and we're doing it.
Yeah,
super cool.
It
How's
is.
that for a rant?
I loved it.
Pat for Prime Minister. What do we got for what do we else have for questions? Do you guys
Well,
have?
I've had I mean, I've been throwing a few things up. We had Pat, yeah, on the screen right now. You're Pat, you're the goat.
Oh, sweet. Who's that? Who's that? Ken Cooper,
Ken
what up,
Cooper.
Ken?
He
Oh,
had
Beth Cody's watching. What up, Beth?
Ken had to leave,
Veronica,
but
Cindy Webster, what up?
another comment
The other
here I
round
threw
of
up on
please.
our screen.
Well, Ken.
Always giving lots of advice.
He does. I think that's the one thing, like I said, is when it came to doing Over the Pint, and just like the community game plan, we're big on community. And I have to say, I've not talked to somebody who has been as big on community in a different sector of industry than yourself, Pat. Like, we started talking pretty early on, like to the point where every Sunday for a while he was parked on my street outside my house.
Yeah,
Like,
and this is the thing, and once again, community building. And I'm not Mr. Community. I didn't come in and be like, "Oh, here's my hat, Mr. Community." I get into this selfishly to be able to grow carrots in my yard in my underwear and not have a boss and be the boss and do what have some freedom in my life and do what I want to do, right?
Yeah.
And we've certainly achieved that. And with running a company, obviously, there's stress with that too. If you don't do what you do, you don't get paid. You don't. I've got kids. I got kids to feed.
we know that.
Parents.
That.
But yeah, it's like, so we go from that starting point of the initial meeting people to now we're on a podcast, or now Jim's at the house flying a drone around doing all of our video stuff in regards to that. And now I'm meeting Eric, and perhaps I'll see Eric on the side of the street, or he's gonna be like, "That's the bus," and he drives by. And then
I'm gonna be looking for it now.
yeah. So
I'll tell you where it is.
It's wild, and everyone has worth, and everyone has their unique fields of expertise and stuff where you can run stuff by people that perhaps you didn't know. Like I say, I keep using welder for the ease of using it, but a professional welder, or people that can help, and then we trade services, so to say. And that is really what community is about, right? And so yeah, it's a friggin' wild ride. I'm not a religious person, but I can say we're very blessed. We worked our butts off to do what we do. My wife runs her own company as well, doing like lash. She's an esthetician, has a lash studio and stuff, and then of course with two kids and stuff. But yeah, like I say, I think it's more so important because I didn't come on here to be doom and gloom, but Jim, we were talking about this the other night. What surrounds this activity, this fundamental, thing we all need, everything surrounds it. So if the economy is not doing good, if people are in rough shape and don't have the disposable income that perhaps 4 or 5 years ago they did have, and we all can agree on one thing, just like the sun comes up, taxes will continue to climb. And for me, that's where like the militant side in a non-violent, but the militant side of me comes out and really, I don't know if we can swear on this. I'm not going to, but really like draw, like
you can do whatever you want.
It pisses me off, but yeah, it really bugs me. It's like, we're sitting here in front of my fireplace. I heat my home. Jim was like, he's going to bring that up. I heat my home exclusively with wood. That fireplace is an FRS fireplace that heats the upstairs of our house, this main floor, and we can even vent it and heat the entire bottom of the house. I just received an $850 bill from Nova Scotia Power yesterday. Yeah, I don't know if any of you guys are aware.
That's a whole other topic.
It's all over the place, but they've been apparently overcharging people. Thousands of people have been getting like double, triple the bills. So why I'm saying that though for this talk is, those kind of things, it's putting pressure on people, it's squeezing the middle class, it's squeezing the lower income folks, and it's challenging. So I think anything someone can do to improve themselves, and improve themselves, grow as a person, and to be able to take better care of themselves and perhaps also selflessly help someone, their neighbor, or be able to be in a position to be able to help other people too. So, it's pretty deep, man. Like, once again, back to the growing carrots in your underwear situation. It gets a lot deeper than that. But
from lettuce on the moon to carrots,
when we first, so we were talking about that kind of briefly there a little while ago. That when I was kind of diving into the no formal education or experience in doing this, is that then on top of that, we're going to throw a zinger into the mix, and we're going to start this farm on the moon, not farmland. Softwood is forest, boulders and ledge, and so high water table in some areas. Basically, every single thing that back in the day, the settlers would have came by on their horse and buggy and said, "Let's keep going. This is not where we're going to do this." And then here comes Cook Pat making the best pancakes in the world. And he's like, that right there, that's the spot. That's
best carrots ever.
That's where we're going to grow 10-inch carrots. Is under that boulder that's the size of a pickup truck. That's where we're going to grow the carrots. Yeah. So it's with in regards to the gardening stuff, Eric. It's hard because like the way we look at stuff is you look at it through like through biology and the science of growing plants and stuff, right? Now I'm not down there with a lab coat on and working in the right, but to teach people to garden, and that's part of the if people want to come, we have that available for people to come check it out. And we talk about the science behind soil building, biology with microbes and things like that in the soil, and how the soil works and how plant roots interact with microbes, and everything has what's the word I'm looking for? Everything has a symbiotic relationship. A lot of things have a symbiotic relationship in this world, and it's it's the same thing as like with chickens with us for laying hens. I'm a firm believer that livestock and vegetable growing go hand in hand, and from the manure to waste, scrap, and compost and those kind of things. I really believe soil biology and livestock have a connection that you're just, if you don't have that, it's not going to go, I don't think going to go very well for you.
No.
But so yeah, we talk about compaction and the tools we use, and a lot of tools, like, man, I've and the redneck scientist here, our furnaces for our greenhouses are all hand built, welded. Design, I'm definitely not an engineer by any stretch of the imagination, but I always say like Pat, that's actually going to be working at our farm full time this year. He's our kind of guy that's wants to get into this and is starting up an urban farm. So I guess our apprentice. I always say to him, it's like, what's the end goal of what we're trying to achieve? What do we need to achieve? It's like with heating, for instance, it's like, oh, okay, well, you could go, spend $15,000 and buy a Wood Miser boiler and run hydronic heating and so, or you can build one for $500.
Yeah.
Metals R Us, Dartmouth, shout out, right? and learn how to weld, learn and those are the things I want to pass on to my kids, to be able to in this climate of world, if a pipe breaks in their house, because we're going to make sure that they're set up to be able to have a house. Hopefully things get better by then, where young Canadians, as sad as that is to say, don't think they can buy a home. Like that's a sad state of affairs. So, but to be able to fix their own, or if they change the sink, be able to change the pipes underneath it, or if they're lucky like me and they're on a well and all the brass fittings that the contractor built the house with that corrode from well water, those ones, they were to code. When I replace all those to code fittings in my entire house, Eric's laughing because he knows what I'm talking about. But yeah, so to have the aptitude, and then of course to have the tools, and that's one of the things I've always loved is as you tackle projects, you amass tools for that work. So when
Right.
something pops up in the future, you have the ability to be able to fix stuff, right? And same thing goes for our vehicles or machinery and stuff like that. So overall, doing this kind of work for me, what I've gained from it is a wealth and full rounding kind of aptitude for a lot of things, I guess, if that makes any sense how I put that. But yeah.
No, that's awesome.
Carrots.
What's that?
Carrots.
I said, yeah, carrots.
So yeah, it's
Oh, that's funny.
one thing I've learned through bumping into things is in our climate, not just because of unpredictable weather, it's imperative when it comes to insect pressure, bugs, like pest pressure, including animals and pests, depending on where you live. In our backyard, we have one of the largest, not far from us, green protected urban spaces in Canada. We have bears, we have bobcats, beavers, literally beavers not far. We have fruit trees. Beavers like fruit trees.
I can imagine.
Brown-tailed weasels, I think they're called. Like, so we have like wild kingdom is in our backyard, and it's friggin' awesome. It's really nice to have, but that creates serious challenges, right? So porcupines, for instance, are a major problem when it comes to fruit trees. We've had such destruction over the years, and we're finally implementing better fencing to exclude them and keep them out this year. And after 10 years of fruit trees, we haven't had great yields when it comes to our fruit production plan. So that's something we're working on. But so back to the home gardener, it's like protection of crops. So greenhouses, and in the case of someone with a backyard, hoop houses. In our fields, we use just a 10 gauge wire hoop that is, very flexible and, doesn't hold a memory when it's bent, or not much. And we just use those and bend them, and then we put either we use a lot of insect netting because we don't use pesticides. That's really, really important. And then of course for season extension, you can use row cover cloth, which is like the same material of masks that holds in heat. So that's one of the things that we're using and implementing this year. I was very reluctant because a lot of the components of our farm, and I think something that's really helped me immensely is that my way of looking at how do you build a farm that produces that much food and be able to do it with as little people as possible. Really, the majority of it is me. So we've always put in permanent heavy duty things that are meant to last. So, we could have put up, 3 times as many greenhouses and just did caterpillar tunnels, which don't have foundations and stuff like that. But every year you have to take the plastic off and put them back on, all that kind of stuff. So why did I get into that? But yeah, that season extension to be able to protect, because we do have a short growing season. That's imperative. Like that is not even, even on our greenhouses, we have insect netting on our roll-up sides where ventilation and stuff comes in. And then I won't go too far into that. This is a perfect example, Eric, of why I didn't answer that question of, oh, well, this is how you garden. It's like, no, that's one aspect of it. But you're dealing with science here, Ricky. And so when you do stuff, whenever you put a variable into the equation here, you're going to get a reaction. And a lot of times you get great reactions, and then sometimes you just get completely out of left field or right field, not expecting like phenomena that happen where you're like, whoa, didn't see that coming. But once again, that's how you build the aptitude to learn
Yeah.
And it's not as easy as just, okay, this is a problem and this is how I'm going to correct it. It's like, no, I have to do this in order to correct this, because if I don't do that, that's going to affect this, and a chain reaction of stuff, right? And that also flows down, if we want to look deeper into this, into our production levels through the season. And that's why it's so important that we stay on top of things, because if you fall behind, you'll have a compounding effect that can affect you for the rest of the season. And in worst case scenario, could even possibly trail in to the following season.
Right.
So it's like, Eric, are you hiring or anything? Like, what am I really get into this? I don't know if you guys even answered a question. I'm just welcome everyone once again to the Fogarty's show.
Starring Pat
This has been great.
featuring the real estate team.
Adrian, what up? Sean Pearson. Who else we got here?
Yeah, we have a couple
Steve
of
Brown's in the house. So Steve, is Steve
comments
gonna still start a farm? He's just cutting down trees. Tell me what you're doing, Steve. So yeah, and then, if we have someone that shows, now I'm picking on Steve. If we have people that show that they want to try to get into this, because like I say, can you imagine, like, with the capacity that we have, and I'm all supportive of community gardens that are nonprofits, or all the way down to just an apartment building putting in garden beds. Jim, we talked a little bit about this the other day.
Yep.
And that's all great, fine and dandy, and completely supportive, and it's doing a lot of the things that people are learning in our workshops. But I think regardless of that kind of thing, we also really need to focus on having some serious, hard-hitting, commercial venture farm, serious vegetable farms and stuff here within the city, and more and more and more in Nova Scotia as we possibly can, because to get ourselves that much more resilient. And so we looked at COVID and all the craziness with that, but there was some silver small linings to some of this stuff. First of all, it woke a lot of people up that maybe needed to shake, me included. But you've seen a lot of those, like, old world skills. Once again, people searching for knowledge. It's like yeast was sold out all over. Costco was sold out of yeast.
Wood was sold out because everyone was building decks.
Sourdough starter was one of the top searches on that thing called the internet, where people are like, how do I do this? So there were some really small positives. I think we all would maybe like to go back to living with our head in the sand and not have COVID ever exist. But I'm a kind of a glass half full kind of look at the bright side of things.
Your glass is half full. Look at that.
It's a jug. You pansies were wanting to have a talk over a pint. I got the quart.
A quart of water.
The quart of water. That's a farmer that doesn't drink. I've had enough pints to never need another pint again in my life.
I think that comes with the kitchen world, Pat. I think that comes with the kitchen world.
Comes with the kitchen world.
It comes with Nova Scotia.
Well, yeah. So yeah, I'm really excited. I'm soaking in the moment and not wishing my life away when it comes to my children growing up. But I'm really excited now that they're, my son Lucas just turned 5 the other day. My daughter's 3 now. And so to have them and watch them, and you can see a lot of our customers love following them and watching them in the videos and stuff. That's kind of my thing. Eric kind of gave me a look earlier when I was like, exploiting my children.
No, I was all good with that.
He doesn't care if you exploit your kids.
I use my dogs sometimes for this stuff like that.
Yeah. So it like, to see them walking down these greenhouse rows with cucumbers that are 13 feet up in the ceiling, right to the roof, with abundances of clusters of tomatoes that are 1.5 feet long, right? Like, for them to do that, it's like, wow. Sometimes I have to look back and ground myself. It's like, look what you did. And I'm a humble person to say that, and I never get into this for attention or credit, although that brought a lot of that, news agencies and everything else. That for anyone that knows anything about our story, when I'm not growing vegetables, we love fighting politicians, apparently. But so getting into that kind of stuff, and you know, I looked at the latest regional plan. We've changed the law. It hasn't been put in, but the latest draft of the entire HRM, we have literally changed the law that, you know, all zones for urban agriculture in regards to, you know, we're not talking pig farms and stuff like that, right?
Yeah.
And it would be, I think it would be safe to say it'd be unreasonable to advocate for something like that, like large industrial stuff right in the middle of the city. That presents its own problems, right? But our issue is that when we started, we were having a lot of, you know, this world that we do, this type of farming is not really well known. It's, you know, when people think of a farmer, they're thinking of a potato farmer and a tractor and running a GPS system going through hundreds of acres, you know, of corn or something like that. And so we had a lot, the information for the naysayers or the opponents to our to me growing carrots in my yard and selling apple trees to people. The only information and ammunition they had was information on industrial agriculture, which is just so beyond out of context. You know, and now I'm really letting this go. We'll see if this ended up going viral or something, and then the city calls me. To put this into even worse perspective, you know, my son and I, which at the time I think was 2 years old, or one or 2 years old, were outside, and the bylaw office showed up, and the dude that the office I called the dude. He did have a man bun. Super nice guy. Super nice guy, but like Eric, he got out of his like seriously armored dog catcher vehicle, and no disrespect to the bylaw office, but like he was dressed like he was ready to invade Poland. It's like, dude, there's a right like combat
for vegetables.
Right? What the hell are you doing? It's just so, it was so bizarre. And then you know, if you're aware of things and you're understanding that he's being paid to be here right now from taxpayer dollars, and it's like, okay, this is where I will draw. So like, we are good. Like, what the fuck is going on here, right? To be like, what a waste of time and just the foolishness over something so stupid. That, you know, that story, not because if I keep going I'll get worse, but that story aged, you know, like really bad sour milk. That shit did not turn into cheese, and it looks really bad to this day. That it was like, you know, when we factor in what happened is like, we were in the height of COVID, and a guy wanting to grow food for people, they were trying to tell to stop. Like, you want to talk about bizarre, like bewildering, like what planet, like where does, and that's what I have with that problem. It's like, where does your moral compass, you know, pop out here and say, okay, ooh, we're an organization that's black and white. It's like, no, you're human, and like, use some common sense here. You have better things to be doing. At that time, there was probably 150 illegal work job sites that were uncertified to be building. Stupid, and they're worrying about pack-grown carrots and lettuce. Like, so here we are. So back to my actual point for anyone. Wendy McGill, if you couldn't navigate what the heck just came out of my mouth, what I was trying to say there is that we changed the law. So we really were like, you know, hop out the Barack Obama speech, like, raw, I'm on top, like we're going. And then luckily the pitchforks didn't have to come out and stuff, but it was close. And so, and that was for the better. That's for better change. Like, and that's, I'm not saying that from a standpoint of, oh, well, if it's not changed, I can't grow carrots. It's for that is for, I think, you know, a broad based statement. I think everyone can agree with me. That's for the better. Oh, people should be able to grow food and sell it to their consenting adult neighbor. May I buy your carrots, Patrick? Hold on. Let me check with the man first. Like, come on. Oh, this.
Well, at least you changed it. You got it changed, anyways.
Jackie Empringham. Jim, you're much smarter than me. How do you pronounce Jackie's last name? Can you see it?
She's not on my.
It. She's on yours.
I don't see you.
Sash Conrad, what up? Sash is in the house. So we'll keep on fighting the good fight. And
No,
I'll keep being a hermit
I'd love
too.
to see more farms like that around. It's definitely, you know,
It's needed.
it's needed.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
what I'm trying to
And
think
you
we
of.
don't
Yeah.
have to live forever outside the city now to do it,
well,
thanks to
and so
changes.
that was and so
Yeah.
that's a great point to bring up. So let's talk about location and why that's important to uh, be right here directly in the city or very
In the
close to the
spotlight.
vicinity of HRM. Is that, you know, for us to be able to do those
Shot fired.
workshops, even though we're offering the program for free and stuff, it's just that much more enticing. You know, we had a neighbor that's now a friend of ours, but a neighbor that lives just on the other street. She walked to the workshop, right? So it's bringing stuff that, you know, the valley's not far, but once again, you're getting in the car,
Drive.
you're
Yeah.
going to the gas station with inflated gas prices or diesel, which you'd be crazy to even think of driving to the valley in a truck because it's that silly now. But so that little bit more of encouragement or convenience for people is, you know, it just maybe that nudge more to be like, heck, it's down the street, it's like so convenient, let's go do this. And then of course for us, from a standpoint of being resilient and being able to, you know, go through the motions when things happen, because once again, like, not to be a friggin', you know, Debbie Downer here. There's no one in the, Eric, is there any of the comments named Debbie?
No,
Man,
no,
his
Only
name
Debbie
was
Downer
up.
14.
So anyways, oh, I'm losing it. What was I saying? Oh yeah, with being here close, is that, like, look when, like, fuel prices were really going, right? And, you know, a lot of farms are either, you know, driving, you know, shipping vans or
yeah,
lack of a better term how to put it, but whether they're diesel or gas, and you're driving, you know, 2 hours worst case scenario usually. Like if you're really far down in the Kentville and stuff, coming into the coming in, just like that, coming into the Halifax, coming to Halifax, you know, unloading your stuff and then driving back. Like those costs on top of, like let's say you were doing one of the more expensive markets where you have like a couple $100 fee for table fees and stuff, plus fuel. But more importantly to me is your time.
yeah,
Being stuck in a vehicle, whether you're doing markets all over the province where you're, you know, I guess best case scenario, you'd be like 4 days a week selling products. Like, I don't know how you're going to farm, but 4 weeks, let's say. Well, that's, you know, I don't know how to do math anymore, but we're talking a lot of time that you don't want to be spending in a vehicle. How much money is that sitting in a vehicle making you? It's the same context of us with like weeds and doing and jobs. It's like, yeah, you can sit there and weed all day or this and that. Is it detrimental? Weeding's a bad one because it kind of is. But
yeah,
be doing things that are actually making you money, because at the end of the day, this is a business, and that I think is a, yeah. So like the being in the city, the immense benefits that you get from that. Like I say, the church parking lot, which was where we really started from. And if Den's watching, I hope you're letting us back again this year, Den. Shout out to Den. But to be 5 minutes away, because I'm always running last minute, like, oh, running around the house like an idiot. Oh, do you know how, like, funny that is? Like, fat man, like, oh, my carrots. Oh, I gotta get in the bus. Get in the bus, get going. And then someone shows up early, and then they want to talk about something like maybe carrots. And I'm not set up. So yeah, it's a freaking wild ride, man. I love what I do. I'm really, like I say, I'm not religious by any stretch,
I'm
but
coming to visit for sure.
it's super cool, man. And we, another
And you
thing,
get to chase the chickens.
what's yeah, and so, and we're going into honeybees. That's another one this year. We had
Oh, that'd be fun.
the privilege of having our friend now, or now friend Jillian, which is like a very, very experienced beekeeper, come over and keep bees, and kind of just to be around them, because that, like, bees are crazy. And I definitely don't suggest people that don't have an understanding of what they are get them. Because, like, I always relate them to like mushrooms. They're something that really has their own world that's they're involved. Like mushrooms are like they're like alien life forms. Like they're their own thing and their own like, oh, the world of mycelium and like, but bees are crazy, and the whole bee biology is a trip, and so and of course they can sting you. At least the workers like so when
Yeah.
we always do funny videos on stuff, and every so often I try to do more of a well, at least our update videos are more serious, but our B videos were funny ones. But yeah, that's actually quite serious stuff. Because you can also, you know, when we posted videos about having bees come here last year, we had like a lot of emojis like, oh, hearts and hugs. Oh, he's saving the world. It's like, you know, if we had if we, and we actually have, but if we had a songbird, a problem with the songbirds and they were going extinct, that's like the equivalent of me buying chickens to save the songbirds, right? Like they're a domesticated super harvester. So what I'm trying to say with that is like being responsible with doing stuff like this as well, because like you could actually create ecological damage. Like we're talking about tens of thousands of bees in a hive, right? Like up to usually a peak like 70, 80,000 bees in one hive. That's a lot. So yeah, I don't know how I started bee nerding. I guess well, it was one of the newer things, and so you know one of the small nuances, yeah, like check this out. This is wild because there's so like I say, there's so many variables in everything from whether it be honey or how to grow the perfect carrot or radish or, but it's you know in regards to honey, for instance, a lot of our beehives and commercial, you know, apiaries are around industrial agriculture in the province. And a lot of the times with industrial agriculture, you're getting pesticides. Pesticides get in pollen. Honeybees pick up pollen. Pesticides
Yeah.
get rampant in honey production. So with us being here in Halifax, usually the honeybee, I believe, is 5 to 6 kilometers their range. You know, yeah, you're always going to have Gerald down the street that snuck a bottle of glyphosate from Canadian Tire and is spraying the dandelions on his yard because we all know how productive that is. But you're always going to get that silliness. So, but it's unavoidable, right? If you walk out the door, you're being exposed to something, right? Like we're for our age, you know, our grandparents were the age of lead. Our parents were the age of asbestos, and we're the age of you know microplastics or lead paint or something like that. But so, anyways, was Eric just like the hell with this? He's just like later.
He's just like, oh, I'm done. No, he's going to get another beer.
Does his head hurt?
He's done this once already. You missed it because you were.
Oh, we already left. I was just in my world. I was doing my show.
You've been gone for like an hour, Pat.
What was my show? The Fogarty show. Should I start?
You probably actually should.
Everyone in the comments. Should I ditch these two and just start my own show? Oh, Daryl, what up? Daryl's in the comments.
I'll be your producer. I'll just sit in the background, Pat.
What's that?
I'll be your producer. I'll do this, and I'll just sit here in the background. I'll just provoke you.
Just hire me. Be like, oh, we gotta pay this idiot $5 an episode.
Yeah, we'll give you 5 of the 50 we're getting.
Oh, there we go. Yeah, sweet. The honey thing. It's like, so we'll be able to produce honey, and we're not going to proclaim that it's organic because the idea of trying to track 80,000 bees and what they brought into their hive is impossible. Although you could test it, but I'm way too cheap for that. So, but we can rest assured, you know, say that honey has less pesticides than any, you know, mega bee operation that, you know, was out pollinating the commercial blueberry crops or apple. You know, those are the two real primary ones for crops that need to be pollinated by honeybees in Nova Scotia. So yeah, like unintended things where it was like, oh, I want to get bees, and we get the benefits of pollination too, and that's kind of hard to measure, to put down as a business case to measure like what the actual effects are of the increase in pollination. I don't have time to figure that out, but and a lot of the crops that we grow, the tree fruit and flowers and all that kind of stuff that we have on our farm is really what honeybees are going for. And then things like cucurbit family stuff like cucumbers and melons and squash, like zucchinis, where we had just like I would say this season we produced well over 1,500 pounds of zucchinis. Like there's probably a ton just in zucchinis. Like
Zucchini is like one of the easiest things to grow. Like
yeah,
any
well,
backyard garden I've ever had, it's
yeah,
literally giving. Like I'm the meme. I'm the one in the middle of the night running and dropping zucchinis on different people's front steps and
yeah,
running
or
away.
putting them
Like
in your car or whatever, putting them on the car hood. Like I could get that understanding from you just from looking at your reaction to that area. So to give you in context, like we had, I think, 57 zucchini plants on our farm this year for our commercial planting. Like one plant for someone is insane. Like that's what when you're giving stuff away is one plant. So it's always a challenge. And as you would know, zucchinis are like cucumbers, where within the one night when you're done for the day, you're like, oh, I'll get it tomorrow. And now it's, it was perfect size. Now it's twice.
now it's yeah.
It's a baseball bat.
Yeah, so it's always a challenge, and this year I really dropped the ball. I think one of the with being able to get the things like that on time, and not always, but this is a long haul here. We were open, I think, for 8 months this year, I think, and so it's a marathon once those things all start going, because when that happens, then you're getting into things like beans and cherry tomatoes and all those things that are like a lot of them we're harvesting like every 2 days.
Yeah.
Well, not so much tomatoes, but cucumbers would be another one. Cucumbers and so when we pick cucumbers, like we're picking bins of them, right? And then the next day you could come back depending on how well the plants are doing and how at the age or stage of their life, and possibly pick more bins the next day when you had plans to do something else. And it's like, oh, well, that can go to hell because I'm picking more cucumbers. What a serious game we're talking about here. Like, yeah. So, like, Jim says I have ADHD. If it is, what are you laughing at? So it is diagnosed, obviously.
Here comes hockey bite.
So I have to say, you guys have done a very good job of actually, you always hear this. I watch a lot of podcasts, right?
Yeah.
In the background when I'm doing stuff. You guys
have you listened to ours yet?
And I'm actually surprised. I didn't doubt you for a second, Eric. Like Loudmouth Jim, I thought was going to interrupt, and like, that's why I couldn't have Over a Pint, because I
because he'd throw the beer at me.
Well, I would interrupt people. I wouldn't let them talk, because I had a moment there where I was like, I'm really just ranting.
That's good. It saves us from ranting.
Yeah, you're looking at me like someone looks at like some kind of a new species they've discovered. Oh, he's actually into the sauce.
You feel like it's a new species, but it's a good species.
How does this work? I didn't even. Oh, it's not going.
What do you think?
So we had a whole bunch of people that came in. Did we lose people?
Oh, yes, yeah, definitely.
247 views. There's not a lot. There's only no one. Oh, my children.
Eight live viewers right now. It looks like on my end. It looks like there's 8. Oh no, now 7. 7 live viewers.
No one wants to hang out.
7 live viewers.
Well,
I'm a superstar.
It is to the point where we do wrap things up anyway. So
yeah.
Like, was there any other kind of like questions that you guys wanted to ask before you let me loose?
No, you really hit community, so I'm done. But Eric, did you have anything? I feel like you hit everything for me.
No, I thought this was great because it was just, our big thing with Over the Pint is to learn about more locals, local businesses, local,
Yeah.
and what you're doing in the community and what we're helping you. Because I mean, like I said, I'm a big gardener, and I know definitely where I'm going to go. Like, I think somebody threw up. I'll share it here. Somebody said you have great transplants. Oops,
Mm-hmm.
wrong one. It's if if I knew that's where I can get my good transplants for different things, I know I'm coming there. I mean, like I said earlier, I don't have big space,
Yeah.
but I do a lot of container gardening, and I didn't do a lot last summer, but I'm planning this summer to do more. Like I got
Mm-hmm.
my bins still for my potatoes, different large containers for different things as well. So that's like my big thing, and I think the big thing now is, where can people find you, Pat? Where do you want us to send people to find you?
Yeah.
Where,
So
like you mentioned the church with the bus, but I don't think you actually
yeah, so
named the church.
we're on Facebook. That's
He
our main
did, yeah.
social media
Oh,
page.
we
That's
did.
the demographic of our our customers is
Hmm.
on Facebook. Instagram, I'm absolutely terrible. My Instagram game is so bad, but perhaps we'll, now that we're getting a little bit more time and getting more organized and getting a grasp of this farm better, we're gonna work on our Instagram game a bit. We do have a severely neglected YouTube channel that we actually have some really hilarious videos on from a number of years ago. And they were mainly like, shits and giggles videos.
Yeah.
Uh,
And
but
the tutorials, like how to plant.
oh yeah, yeah, there are,
You
yeah,
have
there
good
were
tutorial
definitely a few
videos.
things there. Yeah, it's not all that, but yeah, Fogarty's.ca is our official website. And so where we usually set up is the Wesleyan Cornerstone Church, which is 1215 Hammonds Plains Road. We annually open in May, usually Mother's Day weekend. And this year might be slightly different. So, like I say, as we're constantly evolving, we have a lot of inflated greenhouses now that are, with heaters in them. So we have tested kind of tested the grounds or the world of winter growing, so to say. And we ran into quite
Hmm.
a few problems with humidity and stuff, which I suspected might be the case and ended up being the case. But this year we were able to make it to mid-December. I think with where we want to go forward from here is try to work our way towards a Christmas market and have like the big hoorah Christmas market at the end of the season. When, by the way, a lot of local farms are completely closed and just selling stored root crops and stuff at that point. Um, and then we get to that time of year when the light really starts to go away, and then we enter that dark period. And so I feel like we don't want to. Light is really the challenge, is not keeping the plants from freezing. And I don't really think I want to do that. So this season, why I'm saying this is that this season, I think we might have a few food markets of just like a selection of produce before we actually start our garden center, which was usually previous years our opening date was like Mother's Day weekend roughly. So
Right.
the whole goal is we're like I say, is trying to, how do we become a full season farm here for people, because a lot of Nova Scotians want to support local, like in
Yeah.
regards to food, but that's all fine and dandy, but it's available 3 months a year and then it's gone again, and you're back to Sobeys if you're crazy enough to do that, like or the Galen's fancy parlor of rotten vegetables. So you can go there. Now I'm going to get sued. But
Hey, we're not that big of a show. They might not see us.
they
They
were
probably won't.
just so back to the like back so anyways, yeah, we're at the church there, and we're also doing the Tantallon Farmers Market, which is Tuesdays. Um, that's a lot of fun, and then we might look at. I'm not going to commit or tell any more secrets about our
No,
app.
that's fine. That's
But yeah,
fine.
so we just set
They'll
up.
have to follow you on social media to find out.
Yeah, Facebook for sure. We definitely have a bit of a following on Facebook. Um,
Okay.
and yeah, it will be interesting. And people that follow with us follow literally, as the name implies, follow us along because we're growing, right? Both figured,
Yeah.
no pun intended. we're growing as a company, and it's interesting watching the progress from, you know, the time lapse. And perhaps we're getting to the point, I guess, now where we're getting old enough we could probably go back into a 5-year time lapse of land, and I can be like so cringe embarrassed and won't want to watch the video from the first like 20 seconds of it, because it's like, look where you come from, past.
Here,
Jim will be sitting there all hairy faced like Splinter, like, you have mastered the carrot.
you have mastered the carrot. Now
your beach greens are spot free.
Your lettuce lasts forever in the fridge.
I remember the first year you grew those beets and the rodents ate them before you got them. But now you have learned to outsmart the rodents over time. So yeah, it's been a while.
Except for the raccoon.
And one last thing, all joking aside, I'm actually a very serious person, but I'm also kind of, you got to make fun of things, and otherwise I think people will go crazy. But yeah, the whole community thing with like your guys' side of things with the other, like the podcast. I'm inviting myself on your podcast, but that kind of stuff, I think, for real estate agents, which sometimes I guess you guys could be the first face, someone especially coming, well, even within the province, coming to a new area of the province. Yeah. And so their first time in the neighborhood, or in let's use Halifax for instance as a broad base here, you know, from Ontario or another place in the country, for you guys to be aware of what's in your community that's just as important here. So now, you not only did you have me on your show, now I'm telling you how to do your job. But so,
I told you this is new to us. We'll take all the advice we can get here.
You know, okay, let's be real about this. Okay, let's just have the real unedited version. It's like, okay, first of all, I don't know shit about selling homes, and I grow carrots. But yeah, so for someone's first, all joking aside, for someone, you know, with you guys having that duty of care for your clients, welcoming new people, getting people their new homes in our community, it's, you know, to know this kind of stuff, and then like the important things of like I said, the gym. My goal when we really started going with this is like, okay, now we want to literally build an institution. Where it's like, whoa, this is our urban farm, and we have done that with you know, at least with the perception from some of our customers, where it's like, oh, I go to Fogarty's, right?
Yeah.
And so yeah, to know about these places, you know, what are some of the really cool old school businesses what screams Halifax? There's some of them, but they're so lame. Like, what? I don't want to mention them, but what are some of the coolest places in Halifax that you guys can think of? And please,
business.
Otherwise, it's going to look really stupid. Now I'm interviewing
business-wise.
Well, in Halifax, like what's one of the quirky businesses where it's like, oh, that's where that is, or you know, like I guess to put it just in context, some of the you know, a lot of communities have their own. It's like John's. What was that fish and chips place that was that
John's Lunch? John's Lunch, and
institutions, or like one of the lame ones. I'll fold my cards here. One of the lame ones I was saying was like the chicken burger. I find that crap dry, but that is an institution in that area. Right? I remember.
The chicken burger's huge. Yeah, you got places like Robbins, or even if you're heading down the shore and stuff, when you're looking at the yard sale, like it's this huge yard sale one weekend of like 30 miles of yard sales kind of thing.
Yeah. Like, there's some really cool. Every city has its own identity, its own community, and uniqueness. And Halifax is not the exception. It's the same thing, right? So to have, and that, you know, with where we're at in the city, I couldn't imagine living anywhere else. Not to say anywhere else in the city is bad or anything, but Kingswood area, where we're centrally located in the province for access to just get around, Bedford area and stuff like that. Man, yeah. So I wish that because we were new, right? It was sort of new. Like, I was from Lunenburg when we came back, so we bought our place in 2012, this property, and that was, you know, us coming back from Vancouver, where I lived most of my adult life and where I met my wife. But was really, besides coming back to meet my family on odd trips, didn't really know anything about this. Yeah, that's super cool, man. I hope that this stuff for you guys catches on and you build more of an audience and to help people and that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah. No, this is great. Like, I mean, this is the whole thing. This is what we want, and I hope that we can have you on again, and even the podcast, the community game plan shenanigans with Jim and Eric. This is just the side shenanigans that we do.
This is our low key shenanigan.
Yeah.
I would like to be like held like I would like to be known as like Coolio was on Hot Ones or something. I want to be to that status of guest. We will see what the next years and next.
I feel like we should get the hot sauces that you had to help with the making of and line those up and do that too one time.
There you go. We could do. I've got enough on my plate, and because there's such like this, there's a serious level of responsibility with it. I pressure I feel from people. But yeah, there's a lot of cool things, and that you could do with something like what we do here, like little offshoots and stuff. People, like I say, are really interested to know. We've had some videos that have gotten up to 100,000 views, like which for our in our case is viral for us, right? But yeah, it's been pretty freaking cool, man. Anyways, I'll let you guys go. I'm really starting to babble now. Yeah, oh smokes, we've
been almost an hour and a half, guys.
Yeah, this is our longest one.
Do you know how long Jim and I's conversation was? Like this was like, okay, how you doing, dude? Haven't talked to you. What was it? 2 hours and 7 minutes?
2 hours, 6 minutes, and like 37 seconds or something like that. Yeah.
All right. Well, you guys hold. Don't leave, Pat. Yeah. So just a quick shout out. Thank you, Pat, for coming on the Over a Pint with Jim and Eric. We are the real estate team, and we'll see you again in. We're hoping probably in another 2 or 3 weeks. We'll be back up here, but watch our socials. Jim is on Instagram and Facebook as well as myself. Thank you again, Eric from Over the Pint, and chat you guys soon. So hold on there, guys.
Merry Christmas.